Hey, what's up guys? This is going to be another power aerial tutorial, and this is going to be on a move that I learned from watching an Instagram video by Discount MacGyver. I didn't see him name it though, so I'll be naming it in this video. This is actually one of my favorite moves to do right now because I'm still kind of learning it. This is the first move in this like kind of tutorial series where I'm going to be talking about a move that I'm still learning. So a lot of my tips are going to be fresh, and they might actually be better because they're so, fresh in my head. But like always, I'm going to be doing a little bit of rambling before I get into the tutorial. And so what I'm going to ramble about is going to be something that's kind of pertinent to the tutorial I'm talking about today, and that is using your imagination to help you with some aerials, because like the one that I'm going to be talking about today, in some aerials you really can't see the balisong, so you can't really track it with your eyes, and so it's hard to figure out where the balisong's going and like learn from your mistakes and things like that, because you really don't have that visual feedback of what's happening with the balisong. So like with the lack of that kind of visual feedback to help you, what you can do and what I do is I use my imagination and just kind of think of imagine the shape of the aerial I want to create. So like just imagine the path of the balisong, and between you throwing it, so like your arm with it in your hand, all the way to the release and how it flies in the air after you release it. So it's like just like the line of the path creates a shape, and that's what I imagine as I'm trying to do the throw, and that helps out a lot. So this is just the alternative approach that I came up with to just kind of throwing it and just hoping that the balisong goes in the right direction, like I used to with moves like this where they're like behind your head or something like that, so you can't see where they're actually going. Just imagine that line of where you want the balisong to go, and just try to recreate that line in your throw. Alright, so that's all I wanted to talk about before I go into the aerial tutorial. So I tried to make it really pertinent to the actual tutorial because I think that this is the most challenging aerial that I know, and so I try to just give you guys as much preparation as I could before you start learning this move. So this tutorial is going to be on a power aerial that I'm calling the Ellipse, and to do the Ellipse, what you want to do is take one hand, bring the balisong around and under the arm of your opposite side, and throw the balisong so that it goes over the shoulder of the arm you threw from, and comes around in front of you, and you catch it with the opposite hand that you threw with. You might be able to tell that I actually named this move kind of to help or enhance that visual, that like imaginary aid that I talked about earlier, because the ellipse is actually kind of like the shape that a planet might make when it's orbiting like the sun or something, and so that's kind of how you can imagine the balisong in your head if you want. That might help you do the throw. It helps me with a throw. That's what I kind of imagine, is that oval shape that a planet will make when it's orbiting something. And unfortunately, I don't really know any prerequisite moves for this power aerial, because that's one of the things that makes this power aerial really hard, and it's going to make it really uncomfortable to start learning at first, is that I don't know of many moves that really have a similar movement, just like the moves that I talked about before, where you might be throwing it just behind your back in a very similar way. Like the halo is almost like a graduation from other aerials, so that makes it easier to learn, not like this move. Instead, what I'll do is try to just break down the move as much as possible, and that'll be how I try to help you guys learn this move a little bit better. Okay, to start off breaking down this move, like I said, what you want to do is visualize an ellipse around your body, and that's what you're trying to recreate. The second part is to break down that ellipse, and so what you do is you imagine you throwing it, so basically going into the release, the part of that ellipse kind of like shape that you're recreating before you release is kind of like a J. So imagine your throwing path is like a J. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to throw it like at the end of that J, and so most of your force is going to be actually upwards rather than out in front of you. Because if you focus on the throwing it out in front of you, what I found is it usually goes too far out too quick and it's too hard to catch, or you might just hit yourself in the head because you didn't throw it high enough or something. So focus more on throwing it upwards, and what'll happen is that'll be easier to refine. So you might end up throwing it too high over and over, and then eventually you'll figure out the right amount of like tinge of throwing it forward that will give you the right path of the aerial. So some extra tips that help you get this move down is one, you can lean forward, or you should lean forward to get your body out of the way when it comes around from behind your back. Try not to lean over too much. I found that the less you lean over, the better it looks. I know in this footage I'm leaning forward a decent amount, just because it's kind of the safest way to do it, easiest way to get the footage quickly. I should have shown you the best looking way to do it, but that's just the easiest way to do it is to lean forward so that you get your body out of the way. And then also I would say to reduce the spin all the way down to like a half spin. I'd put very little spin on this. If you do put a lot of spin on it, it'd probably look really cool. I haven't even tried it because this is a really hard aerial, and I don't think that I could get it with a lot of spin. If you can, that's awesome, but one way to make it easier is to reduce the spin down to like a half spin. And one way to make the catch a little bit easier, depending on how far out the balisong is, when it comes out in front of you, is you can twist your torso. So you can see that in the footage. If you see slightly, to get my left arm out further, get some more reach, I'll twist my torso so that my left arm comes out. And that's everything that I wanted to talk about for this video. Like I said, sorry, I can't really recommend any moves to try out first or move up to this aerial, because I don't really know. I can't think of any moves that look or kind of help you train the movements that are involved in this aerial. So good luck with your ellipse practice. It would be awesome to see other people do this. Discount MacGyver, seeing him do it was really cool. It would be awesome to see other people in the community do this one. So now I'm just going to let my Instagram video from last week be the outro.